Every time I speak at a conference, I love to go to the vendor area where all the vendors from all around the United States are there promoting their stuff. And it's just fun to go through there and see all the new things and all the old things that, beekeepers need. And so I decided to make a video of the things that I find essential in beekeeping. Some of you will be starting in 2026 as a new beekeeper, or maybe some of you are just getting going for second, third year, and you're not sure if you have everything you need. And I'm going to tell you right now in front of me is everything that you absolutely need. Now, do you need more things? Yeah, because I'm not going to talk about honey extraction. That's another video. And so there's other ways you can drill down in more equipment. But this is really all you need to really start beekeeping and do a great job. So let's jump right into it, and let's start with the practical things that everybody knows you have to have. You have to have a smoker, and this is a smoker that I have Frankensteined, put together from parts of various smokers. So I like certain aspects of smokers, and so I take the best off of each one and I put them together into one smoker. I'll make a video about that. Another thing you'll need with your smoker is a stopper. When you're done using your smoker, put that in there, and that way your fire will go out and you can use your smoker fuel, whether it's burlap, pine needles, something like that. It will snuff it out and you can relight it again next time. Make sure you have a grate at the bottom that comes with these, and the feet are out so that it extends up, pushes up the fuel off the bottom. So you have to have a smoker, all right? In addition to that, you're gonna have to have a hive tool. Now, I love the J-hook hive tool. And I also use the traditional American hive tool. Don't have one in front of me, but it is just like this, only at the end it has kind of a hook on it and it's more straight. So instead of the J-hook, it just has an L shape at the end. You've probably seen those. I use those for cleaning up old bee boxes, old frames, because I can scrape good, and smashing beetles. It's good to have one handy every time you're probably in a hive, but I use this J-hook exclusively. Now you've noticed I've got a short J-hook. This is the average size, but it is shorter than some. I would think this is probably, 8 or 9 inches. I know it's too long for me to fly home from conferences where sometimes they give me these, and I'm like, I'm just got to carry on, so I can't bring a hive tool with me. So think about this. This works good for me all year, except in the fall when it starts cooling off. I was using this one today because it had warmed up enough for me to do a little bit of work in the hive. And look how this one is fortified. It's got that kind of a beveled in the middle, so it won't, this one will flex. Let me show you an example of me using it in a hive here, moving some frames with honey, trying to break cold propolis. Yeah, but this is still a J-hook, but it's extremely long, and so that way, if you really need to pry, you can really break some stuff. All right, so you need those smoker, you need a hat and a veil. Mine's over there. Let me grab that real quick. Again, this is essential thing. So a hat and a veil, if you're good at working bees and you know how not to excite them and make them mad at you, you can get by with a hat and a veil. If not, wear a bee suit. If you're mildly allergic to bees or bees really bother you and you're scared of them, wear as much protective gear as you can. And so that would be probably be a suit for you. And there are times when I'm treating my bees with a oxalic acid that I do wear a bee suit. And other times, if you're removing bees from structures, you want a full bee suit. Normally you see me in a jacket. Some of you have asked me, well, I don't understand. Sometimes I see you in a jacket. Sometimes you have nothing but a hat and a veil on, shirt and pants. But you're like, how do you decide what you're going to wear? Usually the time of the year, the bees are foraging and everybody's happy. I can get by with less protective gear. But in the fall, when all the bees are home and it may start robbing, or if I'm doing something where I may knock over a hive or something, it's possible that I would wear more protective gear based on what I'm doing. Now, let's get into a few other things that you need. Oh, by the way, protective gear. It's kind of fun wearing gloves. You can go faster. I was working bees today, loading my feeders up in my jars, and I got stung on the one was on the feeder, and I went to take the lid off, and it stung me on my hand. Wish I would have had my gloves on. So anyway, you can wear these gloves. I've got a link to all of this in the description below. But these are chem-resistant gloves. Buy them off Amazon. What's nice about them, you can wear them when you're using your treatments. You know, most treatments require you to use nitrile gloves. And so that way you can use something like this. Or you can use the disposable ones. I like these too. Just buy a box of them. Harbor Freight carries a lot of different thicknesses. You know, I think these are maybe 6 mil or 9 mil. You can get them really thick. But anyway, not going to promise that they're going to be sting proof, but it keeps all the propolis from just collecting on your hands. Now, a bee brush is really handy. Make note of these things. These are essential things. There are times you need to brush bees off your boxes before you put the next box back on. If you don't, you're going to kill hundreds of bees standing on top of a box below the one you're putting on. So there are a lot of uses for this. Brush, you need to sometimes brush bees off of a frame of honey, whatever. Need a bee brush. I use burlap for smoker fuel. And I've been getting this at the local coffee shop when we're done with them, or when they're done with their bags. I buy them off of them for $2 a bag. But anyway, burlap really does well for me. Here's another pair of gloves. These I bought from Man Lake, and I've liked these through the years. They're kind of rubber coated, I think canvas beyond the rubber coating. And I've worn the rubber off and still use them. That's how cheap I am. But they work good. I mean, I have a really big hand. I don't know how big that is, but it's big. And I use extra large, and it's still tight. All right. You need a mite testing kit. Let's see. I always hate losing the little cup that goes with it. Maybe it's over there. But it comes with a pre-measuring cup. You scoop up bees, level with the cup. Fill up your alcohol, put the bees in there, slosh it around for a minute and a half, count the mites, It's really good. And again, I'll leave a link in the description. There's the yellow cap and the blue ones. They both periodically leak on me. And so they're kind of the standard way that we measure our mite counts. Now this is really good. It's pretty handy. I've made a lot of videos about a refractometer. You open this little flap, and you put a dab of honey there, and you close it, squish it down, look through there and say, oh, it's 17%. I can harvest it. And they're really inexpensive. And, you know, there's a lot of discussion about calibration and all. They come pretty calibrated, but some of you can watch my video on how to calibrate this with vegetable oil if you feel like you need to. And then the entrance reducer. This is I guess a tool that you might need if you want to reduce your opening. Like right now, you could reduce it to the smallest setting. Now that it's fall, bees aren't doing anything, and you know, keep the cold air out. So entrance reducer. Hey, here's a good one too. This is the Queen marking pen. It was blue this year. Next year it's going to be white. And so these last forever. I've got some that have been around for so long. You can buy these probably on any vendor place when you go to a conference and hear me speak. I'm going to be in Texas, November the 20th and 21st, 22nd. I'm going to be in Pennsylvania at their state conference, November 14, 15, 16, around that weekend of this year, 2025. I'm sure those vendor places at conferences will have marking pens free to mark your queens with. Speaking of queens, I really think you need this. It's a Jay's Bees queen cage. And I've talked a lot about this one. I love it. It has a cap on the end of it you can take off. I've made videos on how to make queen candy, and watch that. And you can put a little queen candy in here. This is really good if you need to catch your queen and cage her for a little bit, do a little brood break. You can put your queen in here, put the cap on it, things like that. So it's really good to always have a queen cage. And look at this, a queen catcher cage. These are good, kind of like a hair clip. And I was always kind of reluctant to use these because I was afraid I would, snap my queen's head off, or at least her crown. And no, I've used these this year, and to catch a kind of queen, pick her up real quick. It really works nice. So you need that. It's not bad at all. Also, another thing you're going to need is a lighter for your smoker. Now, some of you might use the traditional lighter that just has a little flame at the end. And if you're out there in the field and it's windy, those things it's hard to get those to stay lit or to light in a wind. Look at this. About the same price, you can buy a torch. You can't hear it, but it's shooting out a torch of blue fire about ½ inch, 10 inch long. So these are really handy in case you're out there in the wind. It's still going to make a lot of fire for you and light that smoker. This year was the first time that I went ahead and got the solid vaporizer. Great way to treat mites. There is some caveats to it, you know, about when to treat, but just not as sensitive as temperature sensitive treatments. But you know, a lot of people want to use this when they have the least amount of brood. But anyway, these really work well. Cheap way to use azelaic acid. These aren't expensive. I did choose to buy the good one so that I would enjoy it for years to come. Pushing queen cages are good if you want to do a mite control without using chemicals. You can, in the fall, or let me take that back, in the late summer, when your mite populations start going up, like maybe July or August, you can find your queen on a frame and, you know, don't shish kebab any bees, but I've made videos on this, but push that into a comb, and then your queen to be trapped in here. Bees can go in and out of this thing. It's made of queen material, spacing material, but then you can hold your queen in there, and that will prevent her from laying eggs, which reduces mites because mites reproduce in cap brood. Only do that if your hive is very populated, very healthy, and you can stand a brood break. But this is a good mite control method, which there is another mite control method, non-chemical, and it's the green drone comb. These are awesome. I use these a lot, and let the bees draw it out. Let the queen lay drone only on it. Drone foundation, that's what it is. So the queen's only going to lay drone eggs on it, and the mites prefer drones and young drones, and you can wait until it's almost capped over all the way, freeze it for a couple of days. It will kill all the drones and actually trap them. Another way that is kind of, I don't know if it's popular, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I use this for other methods. This is the queen material frame cage. So you could actually put this green drone comb in here like this if you wanted to, and you could keep the queen, you know, put the lid on it, but you could keep the queen kind of surrounded by the queen material, keep her caged in here while she lays her eggs and all drone eggs here, and then you can take it out, take the queen off of it, and freeze it. So there's a lot of tools like this, more to come. Let me show you some more. By the way, before I show you more, let me encourage you to please subscribe to my channel. Here's Bobblehead David, and he's here working a bee suit and sporting a bee suit, and a little subscribe sign reminding you to please subscribe to my channel. Another thing you're going to need late summer or fall is a robber screen. I've made a lot of videos about this. Boy, don't let it happen to you where your bees are starting to get robbed out. Put this on there before you need it. It's really very helpful. I use these when I'm moving hives, just close everything off. Bee Smart robbing screens. We sell this on our website, honeybeesonline.com. And small hive beetle can be a problem. Trap them before they get bad. Put a couple of these in every box you have on your hive with a 1/4 inch vegetable oil in the bottom. That's going to be a big help to you to keep that under your small hive beetle under control as well. And fun things to have are feeders. Obviously, we make our Burns feeder board that you can see me here walking out to my hives, and I'm just excited this year because my bees are so healthy, mite levels are so low, but I'm trying to raise more and more bees of winter physiology. And the way that I do it, I use my feeder board, and you guys have purchased so many of these this year. Thank you. But you can see here, I put the feeder boards down, and you know, it really turned off cold. We've had nights below freezing, so I put these feeder boards on, and I use either a medium box or a deep box above them to surround them. And then you can see here I've been putting insulation in there because I think those cooler nights, that keeps my jars a little warmer from the heat from the cluster below, and they've been just eating this mixture just wonderfully. I've been adding our additives to it. It's crazy how much they eat, and I've been going out about every 2 or 3 days and refilling these. It's kind of a fun thing to do. I feel like I'm feeding the livestock. You know, time to feed the livestock. I go out with my bucket of jars and I replace them, refill them. And it makes me feel good my bees are getting the nutritions they need. I don't want them to run out of food before winter gets here. That'd be bad. It's not even winter. And another fun thing that I've showed you guys that I use is this anemometer. It's a wind speed indicator, handheld battery, tells temperature too, battery powered. And wow, I think I didn't pay $30 for it, roughly on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. But I had to move some hives over here to a bermed area back there. And I was just testing how, what's the wind like today? And what's it like in the berm area? Today, my gosh, it was 18 miles an hour out of the south. I didn't get a video. I went to the berm area and it was roughly 0 to 1 mile an hour. So I cut down 19 mile an hour winds. Now, today it got up, right now it's about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Bees weren't flying, even though they could, because, I saw a few, but, they weren't foraging because there's nothing out there. Zilcho. We've had some frost already. It's killed all the flowering plants. Nothing's available until next March. That's scary, isn't it? But anyway, it was fun to see my bees just, enjoying that warm weather, protected by the wind. Really going to be nice for me this winter when it's 20 miles an hour out of the north. The berm's going to protect those bees and keep them from getting so wind chilled. So that is going to be so helpful. These are essential things. Can you buy more? Are more things available to make beekeeping easier? Absolutely. Remember, I said these are the essential things that I find that will really benefit you as you continue to keep bees or you're getting into beekeeping. These things are, to me, essential. When Patrick and I go out to make videos in the beehive, we load all of this stuff up because we need it right by our side. And I think that's really important. The last thing I don't have pictured here that I did want to mention is I have several of them in this building. Fire extinguishers. I'm a big proponent of fire extinguishers. We have so many fire extinguishers. I live out in the country in an old farmhouse. I probably live 3 miles away from the nearest fire station. And so how long will it take them to get here if a fire starts? If they're really sharp and somebody knows where I live, they could get here probably in 5 minutes maybe. But if they don't really know where I live, it might be hard to find out. Maybe they can just follow the big blaze of fire in the night sky. Oh, not. But anyway, that's why I have a lot of fire extinguishers. And I've taught all my children, I taught my wife how to use the fire extinguisher correctly. I mount them on walls with it looks like it's just like a factory. I've got them on walls with fire extinguisher signs above them. I keep them charged. I don't want to sound bad. I don't buy the inexpensive ones, though I'm sure they would work great in an emergency. I buy the ones that I can have professionally refilled. That's worked out cheaper for me. And I have had to use them several times. Just last year, we have a big burn pile. We burn brush and all near the bermed area. And that berm area has a lot of weeds that grow on it and that die in the fall. Well, that big burn area kind of spread to the berm and it was approaching my hives very quickly on the outside of the berm area. And I had to get I used 2 full fire extinguishers to control that berm fire from getting into my beehives. Isn't that crazy? So, you think it's not windy, you don't think it's all that dry, and all at once you're working your bees in the fall and a spark comes out of your smoker. So do be safe and have a fire extinguisher handy anytime you're working bees with a smoker. You'll thank me later for that. Now, you guys love it when I have a coffee time. That's when I talk about life principles and things that happen, everyday things outside of beekeeping sometime. And so today I just want to mention something that I think it's really important to know as adults and children too. But when I was a kid, and of course, Sherry and I have raised 6 children. Our youngest now is 18. Christian is 18 now. But one of the things that we taught our children, and my parents taught me growing up, is that you have to learn to share. That's something that you teach children when they're very young, like, just 1 or 2 years old and they can understand things. You start teaching them how to share. And a lot of kids at that age, they don't want to share a new toy. They don't want to share a coloring book. They don't want to share something that they love. and you have to teach them to share. And I just was thinking about how important it is that we teach young people how to share, because as you get older and you become a teenager and adult and all, sharing is very impactful when you learn to share with other people. The main reason I make YouTube videos for beekeeping is I like to share my knowledge. I like to share what I know. I like to share what I learned. You know what I mean? I have made a lot of mistakes, so I like to share my mistakes and help you not make those mistakes. I've learned some things that are so good and work so well. Oh my gosh, and I want to share that with you. Sharing is so important. And I've had a lot of discussions. I like to discuss life and philosophy with people. And I have a lot of thoughts about people that are stingy. Because if you're stingy, it usually means that, there's something, maybe you have fear. Maybe you've had hard times in your life and you've had to do without. And so now you like to hoard, or you like to not share because you're afraid you can't afford to share. But listen, you can't afford not to share. Sharing is powerful. And if you have no possessions or no wealth or no material things you can share with other people, hey, that's fine. You can still share you. You are the most powerful thing that you can share with other people. You, your kindness, your love, your generosity of, positive attitude, whatever you have, a laughter. We know people, we recognize people, we attribute people to what they do or a unique characteristic. You're like, oh, I know Bob. Bob has a great personality. I like Sarah. She's funny to be around. She's always telling funny jokes. I mean, we like people and we enjoy them as a person when they share themselves with us. We don't care how much money they have or don't have. It's just sharing with each other. That's what honeybees do. Honeybees work together, they share, and they make the whole single organism work out. And as humans, I think it's great when we can be people who share. So share the best you with everyone and share your conversation. And if you do have the ability to share material things, wealth, money, whatever, it helps other people so much. People are having such difficult times in this present economy. So many people are suffering and doing without. And if there's a way that we can share and help others, by all means, we need to do that. So I've enjoyed sharing with you what I know about bees and what I know about these essential things. And I've just made a new video that you need to watch. I think it's going to be real helpful for you guys. And it's all about feeding and wrapping your hives. A lot of you might be getting into that. It's going to be real important to feed your bees this fall and make sure they're wrapped up good for winter. I'll see you guys right over here.